Our hero Saito shows off his handyman skills to his team, consisting of an overpowered night girl Railza, an awkward wizard Morlock, and a cute fairy girl Laugh-N-Pan, also called Laffa. After an intense session, Saito opens the door, but is shocked to see another door in an Inception-like sequence. A Morlock scans the area for traps. Saito remembers that he was once a normal repairman on Earth. Our hero eventually finds and unlocks a treasure chest, but it turns into a monster. So Railza has to kill it with her epic sword. However, her armor becomes loose, so Saito fixes it, while she thinks impure thoughts. Later, the night girl tells Saito that Morlock is a useless wizard who can't even remember his own spells. She even adds that an army of monsters once attacked her and Laffa, and Morlock had accidentally joined them in the process. Now the old wizard asks the fairy girl to heal him, but she asks for a gold coin in return. This makes Morlock upset, and he wants to stroke his own ego, so he later tells Saito that he used to be a hunky warrior with a giant dragon in his pants. Meanwhile, the dwarf warrior Gibbongle shows off his epic fire powers and his cute puppy, who is his only companion. The next day, our hero spends some time with a shop owner Mivina. However, it seems that Railza has a crush on Saito, as she is seen stalking him in a horrible disguise. The handyman calls her out, so the night girl runs away, much to Laffa's amusement. After this, a shady man tries to dupe Mivina by selling a sword, which he thinks is worthless. However, he ends up playing himself because the sword is actually much more valuable than anyone could have imagined. Now, Morlock forgets a spell in the middle of a crucial battle, so Railza has to save him with her epic sword once again. Realizing that Morlock is useless, Saito learns magic spells for him. This allows him to remind the old wizard what to say when they're fighting monsters later on. After a few intense battles, our hero opens a treasure chest but is revealed to be a trap. He falls into a dungeon pool and breaks his leg, but his team comes to rescue him immediately. After he recovers, Saito helps Morlock and Laffa defeat a Hydra eel monster because Railza doesn't like things that are long and slimy. After a fierce battle, the team emerges victorious, and Saito suggests cooking the eel meat. The others don't like the sound of this, but our hero makes a delicious meal and pleases everyone with his cooking skills. Even Railza experiences pleasure in this meal, despite hating eels with a raging passion. Time passes by as the team goes on multiple treasure hunts. One day, Saito accidentally sets off a trap that unleashes some slime on top of Railza. It eventually melts off her armor and reveals more than she wants to show. Morlock isn't allowed to peek at her body, but the night girl doesn't mind Saito looking at her with twisted thoughts. Now we meet an elf girl Franlil, who is a pro at fighting monsters with holy blades. With her is a nun, Ninya, who seems to be more than just her friend. Ninya uses her tongue to lick the blood off Franlil's bare body and says it's because her saliva can heal her wounds. However, this is just an excuse for the elf girl to get with the nun in a rather unholy session. Then we meet the king, who is with his assistants, a minister with stone powers and a demon king. At night, Laffa asks for money from Morlock once again, and it makes Saito wonder why she's so money-minded. However, Railza explains to him that Laffa has to offer gold to her fairy goddess every night. Otherwise, her size will grow smaller. Our hero wants to help the fairy girl with her problem, but Railza tells him that Laffa will never take charity. Despite this, Saito still manages to give Laffa his gold coin by tricking her into helping him open a chest. His kind gesture is rendered useless when the chest awakens a demonic power that sucks him and Railza to a mystery dungeon. Suddenly, a demon knight shows up to attack the couple, so Railza takes him on. A fierce battle follows, but the night girl is no match for the overpowered demon. All hope seems lost, but Saito changes the tide when he climbs on top of the demon knight. It turns out that he had collected some of the armor slime from before, and he unleashes it upon the demon knight. Our hero emerges victorious, but his body gets crushed, and he falls to the ground. Railza quickly uses a revival potion to help him, but realizes that she needs to administer the potion by smooching her crush. The night girl doesn't hesitate one bit as she kisses Saito and heals him with the potion. This expectedly leads to an awkward encounter later, when the handyman wakes up. It's time to look into the world of matchmaking, but it doesn't look too bright for a knight who has very high standards. The matchmaker girl tells him that beggars cannot be choosers, and it leads to a hilarious chat. Our hero eavesdrops on this conversation with Laffa and tries to understand why women have become so snobbish nowadays. The fairy girl says it's a sign of the times, and then they see Morlock here as well, much to their amusement. Afterwards, a succubus girl seduces Saito with her bare body and is about to get him to do nasty things to her. Railza doesn't let this happen, but fails to kill the succubus. On top of that, the succubus spell makes Saito get frisky with Railza. and he's about to give her what she secretly wants. However, Lava breaks the succubus spell, and Morlock traumatizes his team as well as the naked succubus with his flirting style. Nobody wants to see an old dog learn new tricks, so Morlock is dragged away from the scene. Now the team spots an electric floor, which is blocking their way forward. Realizing that Railza can't move forward because of her armor, Saito takes off her clothes and gives her a rubber costume for safety. Unfortunately, Morlock shows his lack of awareness and steps onto the trap floor without any protection, resulting in an unpleasant shock. Moving on to the next round of matchmaking characters, we see an overpowered wizard with a stick so big that it can defeat any monster without even the slightest bit of hesitation. Next up is Kisurugi, an evil ninja who can defeat anyone by stepping on their shadow. Kisurugi tries to defeat a pretty witch named Lavilia, but her shadow is actually a trapdoor to hell, and the ninja boy gets teleported to the devil himself. However, Kisurugi comes back with a new entourage of demon slaves and attacks the pretty witch once again. This time he gains the upper hand, but it turns out that the ninja boy only wanted to sneak in a kiss with a witch because he's got a crush on her. As expected, the demon slaves look shocked. Afterwards, we meet Kynes, a hero knight who is worthy of lifting a holy sword from a holy stone. He's shown to have formed a party with a witch girl, Lychee, and a priest boy, Monpui. Meanwhile, Saito discovers a mushroom that looked like a man's lower dragon. To make matters worse, both Morlock and Railza suck on the mushroom because it has addictive qualities. Saito will definitely need a therapist after this, but focuses on his next task, which is to defeat an overpowered dragon with the team. They succeed in doing so, but are unable to harvest the dragon's skin, so they go to Donbin, who is a locksmith. Saito easily cracks open up his door, which requires over 100 keys, so Donbin rewards him with some tweezers capable of plucking dragon flesh. What follows is a drinking session where Railza almost confesses her dirty dreams to Saito. Our hero falls ill, so his team is rendered useless for a while, but he recovers in time for them to resume their journey. In the middle of this, a flashback reveals that Saito was killed in the real world and taken to the fantasy world immediately. However, the handyman landed next to a very naked Railza in her bed, and it led to an awkward introduction. After learning how the night girl has a crush on our hero, the team decides to investigate the dungeon where the demon knight had arrived earlier. Here they find a modern device, which leads them to a mysterious tunnel. Saito leads everyone into the tunnel, and they enter a labyrinth where all the matchmaking characters are also present. Saito is keen on finding the modern device, but Railza doesn't want him to do so, because that would mean the handyman might find a way back home. Kynes make an introduction to the team followed by Monpui, but the suspicious priest tries to trick our hero into a shady handshake. Luckily, Franlil and Ninia show up to stop Monpui right in his tracks. The girls have a brief chat with the team, after which we see the Demon King in his human disguise. He is shown to have killed a giant monster and feasts on it later with the king's minister. Their meal is abruptly cut short when Kisurugi shows up and seemingly kills them with moves that would make any ninja proud. However, this isn't good enough to kill either of them, so the Demon King and the minister return to the main palace to tell their shameful story to the king. It's time to explore the labyrinth, but Morlock is shown to be useless against the monsters once again. Luckily for him, Liliza, a monster hunter, and her double ego bodyguard, nicknamed Beardy, come to the rescue. Saito wants to reward them for their bravery and presents a crystal gem. However, Beardy is revealed to be an all-round lover and expresses his desire to fill the gaps in Saito's body. It doesn't please Railza, but the show must go on, so Saito does some solo exploration. Here, he bumps into Monpui, who tries to act tough in front of our hero. The handyman easily humbles the fake priest with his kindness, and it makes Monpui question whether he is a hero or a villain. Luckily, he doesn't have to pose existential questions, as Kynes come to retrieve him. Now a monster dominates Railza, who isn't able to come on top, but she is helped out by Franlil, who amazes everyone with her skills. The night girl gets jealous of the elf girl, so they fight each other for the monster's bounty. Railza has a hard time moving around because of her armor, so she takes some of it off. She is ready to rock and roll, but Franlil doesn't want to take any risks, so she exposes the night girl's curvy body. As expected, Lafa has to come to the rescue, but the elf girl states that this was a lucky escape for her. Ninia uses this as a chance to get freaked with Franlil, but Saito walks in on the girls and creeps them out with his awkward stare. The modern device makes another appearance, and it leads the team to a cave which has many other similar items. Saito sees this as a chance to figure a way back to Earth, but Kisurugi shows up to halt his progress. With him is a crystal fairy named Primus, who also fights Saito and his team. Railza is shown to be powerless against the ninja boy, who simply steps on her shadow. Lafa isn't powerful enough to turn the tables, but luckily Gimbal makes a surprise entrance and unleashes his ultimate fire blast to send Kisurugi away with Primus. Now Morlock shows up, and Gimbal identifies him as his long-lost mentor. However, the old wizard has forgotten his past and is completely clueless about his identity. He further states that he only takes women as his apprentices, but Gimbal maintains that Morlock is indeed his mentor. He also says that Morlock is simply an alter ego used to flirt with women, and his real name is Berkheim. However, Gimbal is immediately taken down by Kisurugi, who shows up with his demon slaves. A fierce battle follows, but then a flashback shows Kisurugi and his team entering a hideout spot. We see Labyrinth resting here, but she has started to age and is going to die soon. That's when Primus explains that Labyrinth is actually 400 years old and didn't age because of a curse. However, this curse got lifted after Kisurugi kissed Labyrinth because it made her fall in love with the ninja boy. It turns out that the only way to save Labyrinth is to win the Labyrinth and meet the Holy Wizard of Time. Back to the present, the battle rages on between our heroes and Kisurugi's team. Gimbal is unable to keep up with the demon slaves as they unleash a demonic blast. Morlock suggests using a fiery heat blast, but Saito says that they need to use the 7th Thunder God move. The men unite their powers to summon the legendary Wrath of the Thunder Gods, and they attack the demon slaves. However, this doesn't work, and the demons seemingly kill our hero by crushing his head. Luckily, this was just an illusion caused by Beardy and Liliza, both of whom have come to the rescue. They join in on the fight, and even Franwell shows up with Ninya. The elf girl kicks away one of the demons, so the other one uses a demonic blast on the girls. Luckily, Kynes and his team also arrive and protect them with a barrier. With numbers against him, the ninja boy panics and tries to escape, but Lafa and Ninya summon their holy powers to summon the divine spirit light shot. They unleash this holy blast upon the demons, but Kisurugi protects them by sacrificing himself. The holy blast weakens the ninja boy, but then Primus suggests tearing off her black angel wings. A flashback shows us how Primus became friends with Labyrinth after the pretty witch saved the crystal fairy girl from a bunch of adventurers. Back to the present, Kisurugi hesitates in tearing off Primus' angel's wings, so she does it herself. This unleashes her ultimate power, and she summons the Lord of Darkness, who takes the form of a demonic pillar. The demon pillar attacks Franwell and tears off her elf ear in front of everyone. Ninya acts fast and restores the elf girl's ear, but they get attacked by a demon beam. Luckily, Railza comes to the rescue with her giant shield. The demon pillar goes berserk, so Saito asks Morlock to summon his epic lightning bolts. The old wizard unleashes the blast, but it does nothing to the demon pillar. Things aren't looking good for our heroes, so Gimbal tries firing his blades at the pillar's eyes. However, it's of no use, and the team is bombarded by demonic beams. Now Saito tells Morlock that he has to bend time and space. It turns out that he had gone through some of Morlock's books and deduced that the old wizard might have been the one who summoned him into this world. A flashback shows Morlock with his daughter, and they are shown to be very close. However, Morlock uses up all his resources into becoming a great sorcerer, and ends up neglecting his daughter, even when she falls ill. He eventually succeeds in his mission, but comes home to see that his daughter is no more. Realizing that all of this was his fault, Morlock collapses to the floor out of sadness and despair. The wizard eventually goes mad and comes across a book that mentions manipulation of time. That's when Morlock goes to the Great Labyrinth and runs into the same spot where items from Saito's world can be found. That's when a god boy shows up and offers to help Morlock if he can defeat him. The wizard gives it his all and unleashes his ultimate lightning blast upon the godchild. An intense explosion follows, and while Morlock doesn't emerge victorious, the godchild is bruised and he decides to grant Morlock some respite. He does this by erasing Morlock's memory, so that he can no longer remember the pain of losing his daughter. Back to the present, Saito urges Morlock to unleash his true powers, but he still can't remember anything about his past. Our hero manages to ease his nerves, and then Gimbal narrates the plan to everyone via telepathy. The team gets to work and distracts the demon pillar, while Morlock tries to remember the spell for his ultimate time blast. Saito guides him on the way, but the demon beams become too much for Lafa to handle. Luckily, Kynes and Mompui join in to protect our heroes. Now the demon pillar unleashes a laser tornado, but Morlock is able to freeze time at the right moment. He is the only one who can move right now, but he loses his memory once more, and only has 100 counts before time starts flowing again. That's the end of part 1. Like, share, and subscribe for more recaps. See you soon!